We're going to have Lebanon treated with the respect it deserves. The words of U.S. President Donald Trump to his Lebanese counterpart Joseph Aoun a short while ago inside the Oval Office. Lebanon's president's first ever trip to the White House, their first ever meeting. The two sitting down behind closed doors to talk about that U.S. brokered deal between Lebanon and Israel. Lebanon's military deploying to the first of three so-called pilot zones in the southern part of the country. At times it was tense, what with explosions heard near where the army was deploying. Inside of the White House, cordial words from the U.S. president.
We are going to solve a lot of problems. We've already solved some of them for Lebanon. As you know, there's a Hezbollah problem, but we've done some things that I think the world will take notice. Again, it's been a very badly treated place and country, and we're going to have it properly treated and treated with respect that it deserves. And Mr. President, it's an honor having you. Thank you very much.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
I've been looking forward to this visit for a long time.
Thank you very much.
Meeting such a great president like yourself.
That's a very nice thing. See, he knows how to get to me. He can have anything.
And for more, let's go to Washington. Bilal Saab is Senior Managing Director of the Trends Research Group. Thanks for being with us here on France 24.
Hey, François. It's good to see you again.
So clearly, Joseph Aoun's read the playbook. He knows what you're supposed to do when you're in the Oval Office and you're dealing with Donald Trump. Beyond that, what did you read from that press conference?
I don't think this meeting could have gone any better, to be honest with you. But let me just give you my confession. First and foremost, I have a bias for the president. I've known him personally for some time, since his days commanding the army. I saw him just yesterday, and I wished him well. But he is really doing a fantastic job leading the country and trying to restore the country's sovereignty at a very historic and critical moment. Today's meeting was, frankly, just fantastic. No surprises, no unexpected twists or bad outcomes. He went in there and he laid out his case, and he pretty much emphasized three main points, which is the withdrawal of Israel from Lebanese territory, at least a specific timetable. I'm not sure if you got an answer on that one. Support for the Lebanese army to implement its mission, and continue the political support and the investment of the president. So I thought it was a successful meeting.
We heard the U.S. president at one point give a nod to the fact that he has Lebanese-born top advisors. His special envoy to the region, Tom Barak, who we mentioned by name. There's also Massad Boulos, who's the senior advisor on Africa and the Arab world. Is there also now more of a Lebanese ear inside the White House? I asked the question, Bilal, because up until even the last G7 summit that we saw, it seemed like the French were the ones trying to remind the Americans to stay focused on helping Lebanon.
Yeah, I mean, never underestimate the importance of just personal connections, whether you're an American leader or you're just a regular average human being. I mean, this variable, frankly, the Lebanese have been sort of banking on for some time, that the president of the United States has several Lebanese friends of his, some of whom actually work for him, including the American ambassador to Lebanon, Michel Issa. And he mentioned Tom Barak as well. He's got the husband of one of his daughters who's also Lebanese. So all of that has pretty much had an effect on Lebanon, and him basically generating sufficient interest in the country. But you got to remember also that President Trump, beyond these personal connections, sees Lebanon also as an opportunity to gain some kind of a political win, right? So when everything in the region is going, not so well, right? He looks at Lebanon as another, as a case study where he can actually generate a political win and show it to the American people.
Of course, two obstacles there, and let's start with the first one, which is the relationship with Israel. Now, there have been those direct talks, which are unprecedented. There was the deployment this Tuesday of the army to this first of three so-called pilot zones in the south. But they also tweeted out that there were explosions nearby. How's that going?
Yeah, look, I don't want to comment on what exactly just happened because I want to know the details of it. But just generally speaking, I mean, the pilot zone concept is the only game in town, right? This is the cornerstone of the framework between the Lebanese and Israelis, of course, with the coordination of the Americans. And so, if that goes well, then the whole thing will head in the right direction. And if this thing falls apart, then everything else with it falls apart. So it's all a matter of implementation, right? And it's going to be gradual, of course. And I think that the President Aoun has been deliberate with his appeal to support the Lebanese army to be more effective in its implementation, and that's precisely the main message that he came with to Washington. But look, nobody expects this to be a smooth process. There's a lot of mistrust. There's also the issue of verification, Francois, which is core to this entire agreement. It's one thing to declare a certain area free of Hezbollah military infrastructure. It's another altogether to actually verify that. So they're trying to figure out right now who is the party that's going to verify that. Most likely it's going to be CENTCOM, which is the Americans, because you just don't trust the Israelis to do that, and probably also don't trust the Lebanese government to do that. So verification is going to be crucial to the success of this pilot zone concept or experiment.
An experiment for now, indeed. And of course, there's the fact that Hezbollah is not in the room. In fact, they were against this whole process. We heard at one point during that press conference a Lebanese journalist point to remarks pouring cold water on the whole process by the Speaker of Parliament, Nabi Berri, whose Amal party is aligned with Hezbollah. Let's take a listen to what Lebanon's president had to say in response.
Actually, the framework doesn't require the endorsement of the parliament. Okay, it's part of our constitution. It's a prerogative of the president, and we are committed to it. And I think the Speaker of the Parliament is really wants to see the end of this war. He's from the south, and he knows he did his best to rebuild the south. But unfortunately, the south being destroyed in front of his eyes. But I can tell you that Speaker Berri is a man of state. He's supportive of what we are doing, and he's supportive of ending the state of hostility, ending the war once for all.
Quite the tightrope act in that clip, Bilal Saab, because you're the president, so you're supposed to be above the fray, but at the same time, clearly marking his territory there when he spoke about Nabi Berri.
Yeah, but at the same time, he's got a pretty functional, cordial relationship with the Speaker of Parliament. I mean, obviously, they come from different political backgrounds, and one supports, Hezbollah. I'm speaking about Nabi Berri here, obviously, and then the other is obviously in a completely different direction. But I fully agree with the comments of the president. I mean, when he said that this is also a man who has suffered tremendously, both in political capital, but also in properties, given the massive destruction in the South. I mean, Nabi Berri is from the South, right? So he wants nothing more than the withdrawal of the Israelis and the reconstruction of the South. And the only way this is going to happen through diplomacy. And so he backs it, even if it's symbolic, even if it is not as strong as the stance of the Lebanese president, but he's behind this process. And so the biggest obstacle is always going to be Hezbollah, obviously.
Biggest process obstacle, Hezbollah. How much of it is about Lebanon, and how much of it is about its benefactor, Iran?
Well, obviously, Iran is heavily implicated in this entire process, which makes things a whole lot more complicated, obviously. But ironically, miraculously, whatever adjective you want to use, Francois, so far, despite the escalation that we're seeing between Iran and the United States, the Lebanon file has sort of been like immune from any escalation, and partly because of political pressure by President Trump against the Israelis. I mean, he's clearly asking them not to escalate in Lebanon, but Hezbollah still has a card to play, obviously, and I wouldn't be shocked if they were trying to once again torpedo this this agreement, this process to try to, support whatever objectives the Iranians are asking them to support. So, I mean, this thing is filled with risks. Let's just not kid ourselves, but just take it step by step. And I think, once again, and I want to reemphasize this, the meeting today between President Trump and President Aoun could not have been more positive. And I'm really hoping that really good outcomes and continuous American support, including for the Lebanese army, is going to materialize.
Yeah, and disarming Hezbollah seems, well, from the outside looking in from afar, like an impossible task. What insights did you get sitting down? You said you met with him on Monday with with the president, Joseph Aoun.
This is the strategy that goes beyond just forcibly taking away Hezbollah's arms. I think everybody understands that in Lebanon, and more people should understand that in the United States and across the world. This is an organization that has too many hands in so many issues in Lebanese affairs, be it their illicit funding, their criminal activities, their political violence, their extremism, and of course, their weapons. So focusing exclusively on the issue of the arms is certainly not going to solve this problem. And the bigger challenge for the Lebanese is not just to forcibly take away the weapons of Hezbollah, but more importantly, it is to stand up a strong Lebanese state with all its institutions. Once that happens, then the mission of weakening Hezbollah and ultimately dismantling it and disarming it becomes a whole lot easier. So one cannot happen without the other. And I think Marco Rubio, to give him credit, the Secretary of State of the United States, understands that sort of requirement, that the only requirement to disarming Hezbollah, the only path to disarming Hezbollah is through a strong Lebanese state with strong Lebanese armed forces. And this is what the United States is focusing on.
Bilal Saab, many thanks for being with us here on France 24.
My pleasure, Francois. It's good to see you.